You're listening to CreepGeeks Podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/CheapGeek. So it begins again. Welcome back to the CreepGeeks Podcast, episode number 159.
Top 9 paranormal news and events of 2019, number 9. Momo, Small Town Monsters, Hellier2 and Paranormal TV.
Yeah. So it begins again. Welcome back to the CreepGeeks Podcast, episode number 159. And this is number 9 of our top 9 paranormal news and events of 2019.
Yep.
So this is the last one. So anyway, there you go. What do you think about that?
Okay.
So if you haven't heard of the CreepGeeks Podcast and you're listening for the very first time, we appreciate having you here and happy holidays.
Yes. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done 9 of these so far. This is the 9th. And if you'd like to catch up, you can certainly do that. We're on everything. So we're on iHeartRadio, Pandora, SoundCloud, iHeartMusic, whatever.
Spotify. Google Podcasts.
Google
Apple
Play
Podcasts.
Music of Destruction.
Would you stop?
Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere.
Anywhere, any major platform you can download or listen to podcasts.
Yes.
Yes.
So what we decided to do, instead of taking a break over the holidays, we decided to do shorter episodes and do about 9 of them, as in our top 9, to give all those people that have to work through the holidays something to listen to.
Yeah.
So we recommend listening to this when you don't want to listen to something else.
Like annoying relatives.
Yeah.
Or
just put in the old
your
earbuds. You know. And you know what? You don't even have to plug them in. Just plug in, get a pair of headphones, just basically stick them on your head, put the cord in your front pocket, and roll. People will leave you alone. They think you're listening to something.
You know, I actually did that once.
Heck yeah, I used to do it all the time. Anyway, we do appreciate having you here. And just to kind of run through a couple different things, there's a couple different ways you can get a hold of us and interact with the show. One of them is a phone number that we have set up for you to call and leave us a message about your experience or story or something you'd like to share.
Yes. That phone number is going to be 575-208-4025.
Yes. And if you'd like to address it to one of us, my name is Greg.
I'm Omi.
And we're hosts of the CreepGeeks Podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and there's also a different way you can get a hold of us if you'd like. You can use our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page and a group on Facebook.
It's CreepGeeks Podcast is the official page. Be sure to like and follow so you can get notifications about when we come out with new podcast episodes.
Yes.
And the group is CreepGeeks Facebook group.
Yeah. And so you can share there if you'd like. We have an Instagram. You can follow us on CreepGeeks Pod. If you'd like, share. Direct message works if you'd like to do that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Lots of different ways. We also have the our website called CreepGeeks.com, and there's a contact form, a little tab at the top. You can click contact and fill it out if you'd like.
Yeah.
But either way, we have lots of ways for you to get a hold of us if you'd like to. And we'd appreciate it if you do.
Yes.
So 2019 has been really good. There's been TV shows, like new shows coming out. Some kind of rehash from the old, you know?
Like a resurgence in interest.
And there's been really good movies coming out.
Yeah.
That we like. And there's been, it's just been good. And what we've seen is sort of a dynamic shift in what some of these shows and movies have been, kind of all about here. And some of the ones that we have on our list, or actually all the ones that we have on our list, are ones that we like.
Yeah.
With the exception of 2, which we haven't seen. So we're going to say we like it, but we haven't seen it yet, so. Well, I mean, we like the people in it, so it's kind of a thing. So now, if you have a show that you think should have made the top 9, and we didn't talk about it, you should leave us a comment somewhere and say, hey, you guys, you should watch this one or whatever.
Yeah. Contact at CreepGeeks.com.
Yeah.
Or just comment. Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, so there was a movie came out this year that I was pretty excited about. And we watched it and we liked it. And it's from the Small Town Monsters peoples.
Yeah.
They do these really cool documentaries, right? Pretty much about everything we like. And there was two that I really enjoyed. Basically, you had Momo, the Missouri Monster.
I like that one a lot.
And Terror in the Skies, which was one of my favorites. I had to put that in there.
Yeah.
Which is basically Terror in the Skies is Mothman, winged demons, thunderbirds, and prehistoric remnants. So I was super excited about that. So Mothman came out, and it had a different style to it, okay? Because the Small Town Monster guys, they do documentaries.
Yeah.
And the documentaries they're unique in the way.
You mean Momo came out?
What did I say?
Mothman.
Oh, man. Well, I've been thinking, okay, because they're doing anyway. They're doing lots of things. They have lots of movies, okay? And they're going back and they're doing On a Trail of UFOs. And let me tell you some of the stuff that they have real quick. You got Terror in the Skies, Invasion on Chestnut Ridge, right? Bray Road Beast was in it.
Yeah.
And that sort of lineup there. Momo. Pretty much anything that you'd want to research, like Flatwoods Monster. I mean, just it's all there. And these guys do a good job because they go out and they actually interview the people, especially if they're still living, right? They tell the story. They do the interviews, and then they leave it up to you.
Yeah.
And there's not this, sort of weird, let me spend 15 minutes talking about myself as I talk about the story. It's the story, and the story stands on its own. And I like the documentary style. I like the way it's filmed. I like the look of the movies and that sort of thing. And Momo was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Momo was kind of like the drive-in movie, sort of grindhouse, sort of 1970s style, like something you see the drive-in movie kind of movie.
And it also kind of echoed the dramatization, how things get blown up into becoming a legend.
And I appreciated it because me being a little bit older, I remember going to drive-in movies, and it was just like that. Even a little like dancing popcorn, hot dog stuff, and the soda that you see kind of popping around the screen.
The music at the beginning.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I totally got it. I understood. But there are people out there that are probably a little bit younger, and I'll say probably more stupid because I can say whatever I want, right? Because I can. They just didn't get it. They were like, I don't understand. They just didn't understand what was, the sort of the intent behind the movie was to sort of pay homage to that sort of drive-in movie, scary, creepy monster movie sort of thing that you'd see.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate it. We even watched it twice. And the funny thing is that we got the movie and we watched it and it was great, right? Mm-hmm. And that sort of grindhouse style and the drive-in movie and the sort of feeling behind it didn't change anything of the story. I think it made it better.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good all the way around. Had Lyle Blackburn in it.
I like the cameos in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cliff and Bobo were in it.
Cliff and Bobo were in it. They're out there hunting Bigfoot and stuff.
Yeah.
It was good. And I enjoy that sort of documentary style that they had in the past. I enjoyed this trying to do something a little bit different, right? Sort of playing into, like you were saying, how things got hyped up, and that sort of thing. And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to sneeze on the microphone, which is probably not a good thing. But, it's okay. I understood where it was coming from. A lot of people understood where it was coming from. It was a big deal. The movie came out. It was great. It was on Amazon. We watched it. Just as good, if not better, than all the other Small Town Monsters movies. But I'll tell you something. There's not really a group of people out there that are making these movies about cryptids and UFOs and ghosts and everything else. Well, let's just say paranormal, maybe not necessarily, ghost as a concentration, but there's few people that are putting these things out. They have like 9 movies out and they're all decent. And you can learn a lot from these movies. And every time we do a conference or a convention and people say, hey, where can I find out more information? I don't say go to the library. You know what I mean? Go to the library. God. And I don't say get on the internet and go to YouTube, although YouTube is a place where you can find, basically any and everything. And some of it's great and some of it's garbage. But I say, hey, If you have like Amazon, go to Amazon Prime, look up Small Town Monsters and watch some of the movies. And Small Town Monsters is on YouTube. And that group of cats with Seth Breedlove and, watch these movies because they put it out there and it's digestible in a way where you can get something out of it. And that's the thing too. Kids can watch these.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's 2019. Kids are they all sort of rock around the PG age. It's like there's nothing. These movies are not super scary. I mean, the subject matter is what the subject matter is. So whatever the story is the story.
So if the
but
kid
they're not full of like nudity and and they're not horror movies. They're not. You can watch them. You know what I mean? You could watch these with your kids if you wanted. And they wouldn't. They're not. You wouldn't be. Like, oh, here comes the bad parts. Let's get you on out of here. Because that's pretty much when I remember stop being able to go to drive-in movies.
Yeah.
It's because, the movies be playing and all of a sudden there's a bunch of gratuitous nudity and stuff. And my parents are like, oh, time to go, that kind of thing. So, it was just, during that, I just remember that from the 70s. But you could watch these with your kids and there you go.
I mean, as
you're
long
safe.
as the kid has an interest in cryptozoology.
Well, yeah, of course. It's like, sit on down, little Johnny, and let me bore you to death with, the beast of Bray Road, right? It's not like that. Or the Bray Road beast.
Scare you to death with Minerva Monster. I mean, because that's...
Well, yeah, that's pretty creepy.
See, that's my caveat there. Don't just sit them down. Hey, guess what? There's a monster in the woods. Let's watch this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, if they have an interest in it, you can watch it. And you should probably watch it with them anyway. But it's not. They're not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Raunchy, I guess. I don't know. They're good. I like them, and there's a bunch of them too. And they're on YouTube, and you can watch them on Amazon. And, yeah, well researched. I can see where the effort gets put into it, and they're worth watching. And I don't have a problem recommending them at all.
Okay.
And I do. Yeah, go to the library and check out a book. No, nobody's got time for that, right?
No, we've actually heard that at conferences and conventions, But
yeah, that's true.
Like, well, yeah, because I was talking to somebody in the Western North Carolina region, and that was their advice to me.
Let's go to the library.
Go to the library.
Yeah, and I get it, but who has time for that? I mean, come on. If you want to learn about Mothman and stuff, watch a decent movie because they all pretty much kind of tell the same story.
Well, this was to go to the library to get a book about the Brown Mountain Lights. That's
well, I can see if it's a book that you don't really, or that you can't really get.
80 years old or whatever, and I think you bought me the book in like 2 seconds on Amazon.
And as we move into the top 9 as well, staying with the whole movie thing, there's another sort of documentary filmmakers out there that have a completely different sort of style with what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was called?
Yes.
What is it?
You say it.
Hellier.
Yeah.
And you had season 1, so if you haven't watched season 1, you should. And you can find it like on Amazon and YouTube and things like that. But season 2 came out, and season 2 was, kind of a big deal. It's like, wow, man.
It was. And because we live in Western North Carolina, and there is a decent portion of this devoted to Western North Carolina, I've really put my detective hat on because there's certain things about what they cover that I really want to look into myself.
Yeah.
And this really amped or hyped things up, but you also have to understand from Greg and Dana Newkirk's position, the taunting and the persistent issue, which was you had somebody reach out and make a pretty extreme claim and then disappear. And then all of a sudden, weird things start happening again.
Yeah.
It's going to cause a lot of anxiety. And they tried to fit not just the paranormal phenomenon, and then the secrecy, and then the research, and everything else. They also tried to fit in the human perspective of it, which was Greg Newkirk was stressed out. Tyler, who was their little, go-to, on-the-road investigator guy, he had some confrontational situations.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're talking also on the podcast and people don't know what we're talking about, okay, so Planet Weird, right? This is an original documentary series done by Planet Weird, and it's a website. And you have Greg and Dana Newkirk, and you had Tyler Strand, and who else is in there? Connor Randall.
Yeah.
Carl Pfeiffer.
Yeah. Johnny Tenney.
Yeah, and Tyler Strand was in there, and pretty much what happened was this whole thing, just to kind of do it in a little bit of a nutshell without giving anything away, an email came in, interesting facts sort of popped up, an adventure is ensued to go down and investigate this email, and this email was really old, so an email came out, they looked back into it, sort of researched it, they started to do an investigation, and that was season 1 of Hellier. It actually went to Hellier, Kentucky, to try to find out what was going on. Right? And then when that season ended, a lot of people were like, kind of, that was a really intense series. It was masterfully done, and it was good. And a lot of people were kind of let down. They're like, oh, is that it? Oh, all that kind of thing, right? Well, that was the sort of the prelude to season 2, because season 2 is where it starts to get even more weird. And so season 2 picks up where season 1 left off. And there's too many details to actively sit there and explain everything to give you a more of a synopsis than, the email and basically going to investigate and try to find out, and then being led down these multiple paths. And it seems like you're being just led one step after the other to the other. And one thing ties into this and this ties into that, and they all tie into each other. A lot of synchronicities. And it was almost like they were being sort of orchestrated in this process. And it was like, from everything from dead ends to that dead ended. And this opened up another path, and it just kept going and going.
It's kind of the whole, if you stare too long into the void starts to stare back at you.
Yeah. And it's something that I think if you've ever done paranormal investigation or really have a real interest in it and start to kind of really be active in just the whole 14 thing in general, the deeper you dig, right? The more you find, and you just keep digging this hole and getting deeper and deeper, but it just seems like the more things start to present themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, you know who else was in it?
Who?
Kyle from the International Paranormal Museum and Research Center that we met at CryptidCon.
Yeah.
That really
And he
cool
was
guy.
also... wow, it went right out of my head, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what happens when you look into it. See, the weird thing about it, okay, here's the weird thing, all right? So with Hellier, season 1, they talk about Hellier, Kentucky, and in season 2, they start getting into and going to all these places like you said, right?
Yeah.
Places we're familiar with.
Like
places we've been, places we know.
And
it's like we went to all those places like either right after they did or right before they did, just by pure happenstance. So it's like, wow, it was even more crazy.
Yeah, like we found out we went to Brown Mountain literally a week after they did.
Yeah, and also like
when we were talking to Kyle, he was like, "Well, they're gonna be," and I was like, "When was it? Was it like the day after or the day before?"
Yeah, something. That's kind of funny because they were there before we were. I can't remember. It's weird. Okay, so either they were there right before us or right after us, because it's something we've been looking into because we're from the area.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Seth Breedlove, with Small Town Monsters, when they're doing their the new series that they're going to be doing the Kickstarter for on the Trail of UFOs. They were also there, like either right before us or right after us. I think it was like right anyway.
Yeah.
But we just sort of noticed with us personally that we've gone, and same thing with Small Town Monsters and those guys. That's funny. A lot of the places they've gone and done things, we've gone and get our own little thing too.
Yeah.
Including some of the ones that are out southwest, because we came from New Mexico and we know kind of where the hot spots are. So it's just been kind of a weird thing. But anyway, the point is that with Hellier season 1 and season 2, they're worth watching. And it sort of ties in. It's telling its own story, and it's doing its own thing. And whether you like them personally, or if you don't like it, whatever, it's a different way to tell the story, and I think it's done really well. Now, some people want to pick it apart and find things to fight and dig over and all that kind of stuff, which means you're typically doing something right.
Yeah.
When you have people that really love your work and then really hate you at the same time, it means you're doing something good. Yeah. And the same thing with Small Town Monsters. You know, a lot of people love what they're doing, and there's people that just don't like what they're doing, which is good.
If you produce something that somebody can be so overarching critical of, it means you've created something that has body and substance.
And you've basically given these people some kind of emotions.
Yeah.
Which means that you're on the right path.
Like
right?
with, and it's funny with Hellier, and I think another thing we've watched this year, within the first 24 hours or so, there were some very critical ratings on Amazon. And you could tell once you started to read these ratings that they were written by fans of other popular shows.
Yeah. And we've noticed that it seems like, and this is the same thing with, like, we keep going back and forth between Small Town Monsters and the Hellier crew.
Yeah.
We've seen, it seems like the older crowd, I don't want to say older crowd. How do we do this? Okay.
Honestly, there's two crowds, the old guard, and then there's the shock and awe group.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a proper name. Reaction group. I'll call them the reaction group.
Yeah, but then you also have like the newbies, right? And it seems like the older crowd sees these newer investigators and newer documentarians and newer filmmakers, right?
Yeah.
As just being these
kids who haven't done their time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you know, and when all the instances that are out there where these people should be sort of reaching out and helping and doing that sort of thing, it doesn't seem to happen as often as it should. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, from what we see, or I shouldn't say we, but from what I see, it seems like you have a group in the old guard that sees the work that these youngsters are doing. I'm going to call them youngsters because they're all young peoples, right? That they see the work that these youngsters are doing and they're trying to help out.
Yeah.
You know, and they're showing up in their documentary, sort of endeavors there. They're showing up in the films, they're showing up in the series, and they're trying to help. And there is a large group of that old guard that's just is not there. It's almost like they see them as being competition, right? Mm-hmm. They don't like the way they do things like research on the internet, and they don't like the way they just don't seem to like the way things are. And most of these people that we've seen don't exercise social media in the way that they could, and it becomes a thing.
I wasn't going to say it.
I'll totally say it. You know, I'm almost 50 years old, and I know how to use a Twitters.
But see, here's the thing. Okay, I used to be a...
But they kind of scoff at those guys for you're doing all this internet stuff when you really should be out there in the field. Well, you know what? It's 2019, and the internet is a big part of what we're doing, what everybody's doing.
Okay, so I function as, and I have been, a social media manager. I know how to use social media, but I can go back in my lifetime, nothing paranormal. I functioned as a research assistant. I know what it's like to look up stuff on microfiche and,
microfiche.
Yes, and go through library archives and things like that. And I would, if I were someone from the old guard, which is what I'm going to call them, I would be happy for the younger generation that they don't have to go through that process.
Yeah, but they look at it as being, oh, well, you know, you guys, it's almost like they look at, oh, you got everything handed to you.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you know, all right. And it's just stupid because we've actually talked to people like that are like, you know, these old, like, you know, like, wow, been investigation, you know, been actively involved in investigating for like 40 years. And it's like, man.
But then,
and they'll hand you a business card, and it's like it might as well say whatever at AOL.com, and you just know right there that you will never be able to interact with these people in a way that makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, hey, come by anytime and we'll talk all about it. And you're like, man, that's great. And I'm like, you don't know I live 10 hours away.
But the old guard used to make that 10-hour drive.
Because they had no freaking choice. You know what this is? This reminds me of these people that are doing the research. They're like acting like fax machines when everybody else is acting like email. For you youngsters that don't know what a fax is, a fax is a facsimile or a copy. You would take your document, put it in this machine, and it would call, you know, using a modem, right? Modulator, demodulator. it would send your little document over the phone line, and the machine on the other end would pick it up and demodulate it and turn it back into a document.
Hey.
Right? and you go, wow, I have a real copy. Right? You have a facsimile, I have a copy. When it's like, wow, you go through all that stuff. You have to have a phone line. You got to dial a number. You got to put the document in there. It's got to scan it in there. It's got to do a wee boo, wee boo, wee boo. It's got to do all the connection stuff. And then it's got to print out on the other end when I can just send you a freaking email or a text and be done in seconds.
Hey, Gen Xer, guess what? People are doing DMs now and instant messages.
No, I get it. But see, they were all excited about the fax machines. But here's the stupid thing. Faxes are still considered to be true copies, and they're accepted. The government takes them. They're considered to be legit because they're like, oh, well, emails and direct messages and everything else can be manipulated. Well, so can faxes, but
yeah,
it's besides the point. I think that when you look at like Small Town Monsters and you look at the Hellier crew and what they're doing and the fact that they're actually doing something, and it got huge eyeballs from all the crowd eyeballing these guys and seeing stuff that's different and kind of refreshing. I think that's great because it's opening the door so that this sort of thing will maybe continue on and get better results. Because if they're utilizing every single resource that they can, that's just better. And they seem to be a lot more open-minded to everything considering what we've seen in the past. So I'm excited by it. I don't know. And so whether you like those shows or not, I don't care. They were super popular. They made the list because it was super popular. Season 1 of Hellier, right? Went viral.
Yeah.
And Small Town Monster guys, right? They had some big announcements too, man. They're being, I'm not exactly sure how that relationship works, but they got like a real production company kind of like helping them out, I guess. I'm not sure exactly like on the details, but it's like those two groups super popular, or you should be. They should. I mean, they were for us because we seen it and we were excited to be able to watch the movies and the series and kind of interact with both groups in our own little way, which is very nice.
I still want to meet the people at Hellier. So
yeah, I mean, we kind of chatting back and forth on Twitter is one thing, but hey, how's it going is something completely different, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of movies, this was a movie that's coming out. It's a long time coming, and I'm excited that it is, right? It's called Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's basically picking up kind of a story arc that goes back to the original Ghostbusters set with, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, who's not here anymore. I don't know if Rick Moranis is in it or not. I don't think so. I think he kind of gave that stuff up. So anyway, the original Ghostbusters, they had Ghostbusters 1, you had Ghostbusters 2, and then something happened. They did a little bit of a reboot, and that Ghostbusters movie is evidently kind of gone now. And this is Afterlife. Right? You got the old Ecto-1 out there, and they sort of picked up, and I think they're going to use, in other words, the real Ghostbuster sort of franchise that we all liked is coming back, different stories we're retelling, and I'm kind of excited by it.
Yeah.
I mean, the teaser trailer was pretty good. It's an old barn, it's creepy, the wind, the scary stuff. It's all, and a little bit of there's a car undercover, and the wind sort of blows it up, and you see it's like Ecto-1 on the license plate. You could tell it's the hearse.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, ambulance. That was is what it was, the Ecto-1. And now this one sort of picks up with some grandchildren, I believe, and some kids. And they're picking up the mantle. You see them with proton packs, and Ecto-1 has a door gunner seat, and it's got Paul Rudd in it. Who doesn't like Paul Rudd?
I don't know.
So you got Ant-Man.
Yeah.
You got the kid from Stranger Things. What's his name? Mike? Is it Mike?
I think
Whatever that kid's name is. It's going to be good. I mean, it looks like they're not taking any chances with this. They're like, we need to do as many throwbacks to the original series as possible, the original movies, so that we can get a blockbuster hit on our hands.
And I think it truly does pick up on the original storyline. So that's...
Yeah. Or it's after, but it definitely ties in.
Yeah. Because I remember I started to watch the trailer. I watched it like 3 times, and certain things I was like, oh, that's what happened, you know? So.
Yep, it's going to be good because, I mean, if you think about Ghostbusters, how many paranormal investigators watched the Ghostbusters movies and said, I want to do that?
Well, obviously Zach Baggins, because he bought all the stuff.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, he $300,000 worth of Ghostbuster memorabilia.
And like 200 of it was just for the pack.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it was the Ghost Trap.
Yeah, Ghost Trap, yeah. So
yeah, so far we've talked about Thunderbirds a little bit, Momo Monster, right? Small Town Monsters, Hellier Season 1 and Season 2, the Ghostbusters trailer. So that's going to be a movie we can all watch and enjoy. Yeah. And when it comes to TV, there was a couple things that happened that pretty much blew up all of a sudden. Okay, so you remember Grant Wilson and Jason Hawes?
Yep.
They were in that show. What was it called? Ghost Hunters?
Yep.
On Sci-Fi. Was it on Sci-Fi?
It got tossed around between like 3 networks, didn't it?
No. I don't think so. I could have sworn
it did.
Nope. So. I mean, I might be wrong. But anyway, you had the Ghost Hunter show. It was wildly popular, and they were the Roto-Rooter guys that, Ghost Hunters, and they did all that stuff, and they were on for a long time. And I think their direct competition was Zach Baggins in the whatever show that's called. I can't even remember what the Zach Baggins show. What
Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Adventures. It should be, but see, I don't see that show as being Ghost Adventures. It should be like Extreme Ghost Adventures, because that's what they were.
It did get tossed around. Sci-Fi's rebrand, A&E, and then FYI. So.
All right. Well, whatever. So the show went away. And then there was not a lot to be heard from Grant Wilson and Jason Hawes. And
other shows came and gone.
Other shows came and went, yeah.
So.
And then all of a sudden this year, they're like, oh, hey, we're bringing back some stuff here. We're going to have a new show on A&E TV called Ghost Hunters, and it's going to have Grant Wilson in it. And people are like, what?
And then people were like, what? What about
And they're like,
Jason?
Where's Jason? And they're like, well, guess what? On TravelChannel.com, Ghost Nation is a new show with Jason Hawes. And people are like, what?
Yeah.
And you had some people in there, and you had like a Tango's in there, and all the other guys I can't remember because I don't know, for whatever reason I can't remember anybody's name tonight.
Steve Gonzalez.
Steve Gonzalez. Yeah, Tango.
Dave Tango.
I'm sorry, Dave Tango. What did I say? And Dave Tango and Cash.
Would you stop
Tango and Cash is an excellent movie, by the way. It has, who was in Tango and Cash? No. Sylvester Stallone.
Would you stop?
And what's the other guy's name? Kurt Russell, I think. Tango and Cash. And there was a spinoff of Tango and Cash called Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Oh, gosh.
Because for a while there, see, Hollywood goes in threes, right? They typically make a movie, and if it looks like it's going to be okay, 2 more get made that are the same but slightly different. So... like, look at remember the asteroid movies? Like the meteors coming and destroy the planet. You had that movie I couldn't remember, Armageddon. That was one monster or meteor sort of destroying planet killer movie. Then you had the other one with Morgan Freeman in it. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what that one was called either. And then
there was a lot of I don't know what's going on this
I don't know what's
episode.
happening. All I really know is that okay, with Ghost Hunters and Ghost Nation, you got Grant Wilson and Jason Hawes, right? The people that were in Ghost Hunters, they have their own teams, different channels, kind of doing the same thing.
It was Deep Impact, by the way.
Deep Impact. And what was the other one called?
Armageddon.
Armageddon, that's 2.
Asteroid.
And Asteroid, that's 3.
Yes.
You had Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, Tango and Cash, and there's going to be another one. Right, that was like the buddy one. I'm not counting the Bad Boys movies where you had, like, so anyway.
Impact,
yeah, that was the other asteroid movie. So, yeah. And there was another show that came out that we kind of got interested in. Now, I'll be honest with you, we have not seen Ghost Hunters or Ghost Nation.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be completely honest. Ghost Hunters was cool and all, and I was interested in it, but it just didn't really push any buttons for me. I'm just saying.
I liked the original... I guess the original show for a few seasons.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And in Ghost Adventures, I didn't really like Ghost Adventures at all until we started just watching them on reruns because, we were when they do these marathons, we just kind of watched them. And it's like, okay. And it was really exciting when they would get possessed all the time.
Or a demon would touch them.
Yeah, like, oh my God, that kind of thing. It's like, ooh. And it just got to where it's just kind of one of those things.
Yeah.
And then even that kind of died out. And then we started watching this Ghost of Morgan City. And I liked that show. It's like I was pretty interested in it and seen some really neat things and some things that, evidence may or may not have been kind of, it's like up to
that hallway one.
Yeah, that was pretty. I'm like, whoa. And fun fact, the gentleman who created a lot of their paranormal stuff, their gear, if you will, kind of hung out with him at a convention, got to talk to him a little bit, didn't know who he was exactly, and said, I'll fight him in the parking lot.
You didn't know who he was for 20 minutes, and that I was like...
But you know what, though? I stood firm in what I believe, and I still do. And, after we talked outside for a while, because we were just kind of yucking it up outside, I realized where he was coming from and what he was trying to say, but it wasn't coming across to,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still wrong, though. I'll still fight him in the parking lot over, but it doesn't matter. It's all right.
Meanwhile, I am talking to his wife, Miss Katie Stafford, and I'm like,
KT and KD Stafford. Like, nice people, actually. Really nice people.
You are wonderful, and I want to hang out with you.
Yeah. And so they're actually really cool cats, and we're kind of chatting it up a little bit. And so, no, I got what he was saying, and I got where he's coming from. So,
but their take on their show is pretty interesting. They have an investigator, a medium, and a tech guy, and I'm like, and it's a small group because you and I have
and they drive around in a motorhome,
which is also pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because
it's kind of a Anyway,
you and I have that kind of theory that certain paranormal activity only seems to happen when you have that smaller contained group.
Yeah.
Instead of having like a crowd of 20 people.
Yeah.
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 So
I think smaller the better.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of a thing. I mean, I'm sure that there's places that prove you wrong, but it just seems like when there's a crowd of people, depending on what's going on, if their intentions are good and they're all into it, then you get more results. But if they're not, it just seems to be like almost a waste of time, Or
there's too much stuff that you have to throw out due to the amount of people.
And I think a lot of people bring a lot of static, and that static,
a lot of noise.
just a lot of noise in general. I mean, I don't mean like, noise as in sound, but just brings a lot of, garbage. It's hard to sift through.
Spiritual garbage or energy garbage.
Just garbage all the way around,
Okay.
Attitudes, garbage,
Yeah.
And then you get people that are like, did you hear that? It's a ghost. It's like, no, that wasn't a ghost. That's me standing there, Or my favorite was we were at an event, and we didn't really eat lunch because we're kind of night birds or night owls, whatever you want to say. And we showed up to an event, and it's like it was our breakfast time, and we were running a little bit late because of traffic, because it happens. And I'm standing there next to somebody, and my stomach said, hey, Red, it's time to eat, And so it kind of gurgled, and the lady was like, what was that? And I'm like, I don't know. Could have been a demon. And she's like, was that you? I'm like, yeah, it's my stomach. I'm sorry. It's a little stomach gurgle. When I leave here, I'm going to the old Waffle House. So that'd be the only thing that was open. But it was just kind of funny. She's like, what was that? I'm like, I don't know.
Can't take you anywhere.
Nope. Like, I had no control over it. I didn't know it because it, a little scary. Mm-hmm. And then there's a series that you can watch on Amazon.
You can watch on Amazon, Apple TV. And this is why I put it in here. They have skipped the traditional TV method for the most part, and they're going straight to online digital. It's like, that's convenient.
Yeah, I think they started doing, I think they started, Nick Groff and someone else who I can't remember, bad with names today, started this video thing where you could put your series on there, and they're part of that. And I believe Small Town Monsters is also has that.
Where you just do the direct streaming option.
Yeah. It's part of like almost like a network kind of a thing. And the Twisted Paranormal guys.
Oh, VidiSpace. Is that
VidiSpace, there you go. The Twisted Paranormal guys, and they have basically a series called The Twisted Realm. And you can watch it on Amazon. This just happens to be where we watch it. And they go through and do, investigations, and it's a pretty good show. You know, they did like Bellwood Club, Avenel, Plantation, and some others too. But you've got Lyle Watts and I don't want to name a bunch of names because I can't remember them right now, for one, and the other part is I'm going to butcher their names. But anyway, the Twisted Paranormal guys,
Lyle, Tana,
Yeah.
and Brandon are who we've met twice now.
multiple times,
So,
actually,
yeah.
3 times.
Wait, 3? Not twice. Okay,
Wait,
twice.
you sure? You're not sure. Whatever.
We don't know anything this
I know we don't know
episode.
anything. Well, because here's the thing, just to kind of put it in perspective and kind of roll back in there. 2019 for us was pretty busy. We did 21 events. 21. Well, it doesn't sound like a lot, does it? But it does if you think about when we started doing these events. When did we start doing these events?
April.
May. At the end of April into May.
Yeah, April 28th.
Yeah, so May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and we did like 2 in December. So in that 8-month period, we did 21 events.
From September to October, we only had 1 weekend off.
Yeah.
And then we ended up not having that weekend off.
Yeah, we wound up doing something.
Paranormal investigation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the thing, too. We'd go do these events, we'd come back, and then we'd go do an investigation here and there. We, helped out a paranormal team, that kind of thing. So we've been kind of doing the podcast and doing everything else. So we've been really busy, and we've met a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we've met a lot of people a couple times.
We have a stack of cards, like business cards of people we need to write thank yous to.
Yes.
So.
And we're trying to generate sort of a contact list of people and just kind of, hey, and sort of make our little directory. So, like if you wanted to know about Kecksburg, then you need to contact Stan Gordon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just use that as an example, Yeah. Anyway, if you want to know about Bigfoot, let's get a hold of Dr. Jeff Meldrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of thing.
But,
you want to know about UFOs? We're going to do Mike Barra, right? Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Talk to these guys.
But with Twisted and Twisted Realm, I like it because it's, first off, props to Lyle because it is a well-organized team, a lot of structure there. They seem to know, and okay, this is our purpose. This is what we're here to investigate. Yes, we have the witness accounts or the experiencer accounts. Let's go ahead and determine what from their account we can handle.
And they're not being possessed every 2 seconds.
Yeah, we can handle, what we can investigate, what we can look into, what we can debunk, that type of stuff. Talk to Brandon. He's very techie. I like talking to him. He's a pretty good dude.
Yeah, he's a cool cat.
Yeah. So.
And, they do the investigation. They do their interview and they let people talk. And it's good.
Yeah.
It's like how we like to see ghost investigations done if you're trying to be serious about it. Mm-hmm. So it's been a thing. So the Twisted Realm shows have been good. And there are 2 seasons, so far. 2nd season just started. And we like the people. They're doing a good job. Hellier people are doing a good job. Small Town Monsters Cats doing a good job. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about some of the other more dramatic shows. I shouldn't say dramatic, more
reactive.
Yeah, we're not talking about some of the other shows that are out there where they're just sort of not, I don't want to say not real. See, we know some of these people, so I don't want to say. You know what I mean? It's like, But yeah, there's shows out there that are way more, maybe way more dramatic than they need to be.
Okay.
And I get it because, you're watching people walk around doing stuff and, a lot of times nothing really happens, but it doesn't make for good television. Right? So we'll just kind of leave that alone. But I mean, the shows that came out, the movies and the series that came out this year, there were, some standouts and they were good, man. I'm like, this is all right. And it kind of puts it in perspective because not everything is like super over dramatic and embellished and all this other stuff. These shows were good. They were credible enough. The people seem like they've done their due diligence, right? And they care and it shows. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So that's really about all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
So there you go. So if you're looking for some stuff to watch and you want to watch some documentary movies about cryptids and basically just the lore behind it, Small Town Monsters, right? Mm-hmm. And go to their website, smalltownmonsters.com. They've got a ton of movies to pick from. If you want to start and get interested in cryptids and you don't have time to go to the library, watch these movies because you will learn a lot. And you had Hellier Season 1 and Season 2. They're kind of series, multi-part series,
Yeah.
Really liked how it was filmed. I like the style behind it. It drew you in and dragged you right along with them. Fantastic. The two big names in paranormal TV came back with Grant Wilson and Jason Hawes. Oh, if you want to kind of check out Hellier, go to Hellier.tv and you can kind of find all the places to watch those at. So Grant Wilson, Jason Hawes came back. That created a stir. People were all like, But, it's funny because people were like, oh, man, this is going to be great. And then they're like, how come they're not together? That was the one thing that everybody wanted was like, why aren't they all together?
Yeah, and it's not because of some beef. It's actually due to negotiations and the big unmagic of TV.
Yeah.
Like, how can we make sure these guys get the money they're asking for and get basically funded to do what they want to do,
Yeah.
And you got to do that sometimes, sadly. So
pretty much. So it's all about the money.
It's not. I mean,
money. Yeah. And then, with the other shows the other show that we watched that we really enjoyed was, Ghost of Morgan City. Watched a 3 episodes of that. Thought it was pretty good. You had the old skeptical inquirer jumping in there, basically trying to tear them apart because of an apparition that, they captured. If you want to call it an apparition or not, it's up to you. Watch the video over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Looked pretty freaking crazy to me. I'm like, what?
What?
Yeah. And so, it's a good show. I do like the gear that they're using, and I think that Stafford's doing a good job there. And so it's just been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about 2020 to see what's coming up. I know Small Town Monsters has a lot of stuff in the pipe. And their Kickstarter starts February 6th.
Yeah.
And they're going to do On the Trail of UFOs. And they've got a bunch of stuff coming, so it's going to be fantastic. So looking forward to that. I don't know if there's going to be a Hellier Season 3, but if there is, I'll be excited about that. We're going to binge.
My only critique is I miss the original song from the first one.
Yeah, that was pretty catchy. We're going to watch more of the Ghost of Morgan City series where it kind of changes cities, and we got to catch up on the Twisted Realm. So,
yeah,
because one day we're going to go hang out with those cats and go do an investigation with them because they're like, yeah, you should come out and we're going to do that because we have a lot of stuff to do in 2020 ourselves. We're going to be spending some time cruising around Kentucky and Ohio and Pennsylvania because we had a lot of invites this year for us to go places and do some things, and we're going to wind up reaching back out and talking to these people that we met, friends along the way, so that we can do exactly that. And we're going to be recording our video and audio interviews and a lot of exclusive content that we're trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do with it. Because 2020 is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And
so much, y'all.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We have a ton of stuff that we don't really have an avenue to put out. But we think we found one. So a lot of behind the scenes, we're photographers, man. We take 1,000,000 pictures, but it's going to be good. So podcast is doing pretty good, making lots of friends, been doing lots of events and meeting some of you fine people. And it blows me away every time somebody comes up and goes, hey, I listened to your podcast.
And what do you say to
them? I usually apologize. I'm so sorry, man. They're like, no, it's good. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. It's like, man, and like, hey,
of course
here's another person with low standards, baby.
Well, my reaction doesn't help half the time because usually I turn around and go, really? But then again, I'm usually surprised because I'm busy working an event.
Yeah.
So, really? What?
No, it's pretty cool. We've met a lot of nice people.
Yeah.
And it's been great. And we do appreciate when people come up and talk to us.
So many events this year, y'all.
Yep. It's going to be good. Fantastic. Anyway, for our 30-minute podcast, which is now 55 minutes long, let's see. Thank you. Thank you for listening. So there may or may not be one more podcast before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. There's going to be another one. So anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Nope. Just if you got anything to say to us, message us, want to talk about, or like Greg said at the beginning of the podcast, you think your show or movie or series or documentary should have been on this list, email us.
Yeah. Because if anything, it'll give us something to watch.
Yeah. Granted, we live in an underground bunker deep in the mountains of western North Carolina, but I'll go stand in a cornfield to get your movie. So
I won't.
I will.
Yeah.
Email us, let us know. Contact@creepgeeks.com.
Yes.
Yes.
Okie dokie. Mm-hmm. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. See you later. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.